first time in my life I'm truly free to see the clear-cut forest for the poison sea, to see the waters occupy the shores of Jersey, and I feel alive.
No, it was never my intention to jip NVIDIA out of a large amount of dollars by not getting an RTX, but I think it was probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think when it comes to actual quality of cards, NVIDIA is pretty unbeatable.
No. Just scamming NVIDIA out of money, because to get RTX audio before they released the patch to have everyone be able to get it, you had to just insert, because it was always able to be used without an RTX card. So you had to just insert a bit of code into the program that would just ignore it scanning for which card you had.
That sounds like, in terms of ease of piracy, that sounds like Photoshop levels.
Absolutely. Welcome back to Calfire Crackpots. Today we're going to be talking about Saudi Arabia, the meme of the 21st century.
It's amazing we haven't talked about it yet.
This is going to be a fun one. This is poop trucks. Trucks taking poop out of Dubai because they don't have a septic system. And then here's the this is Mecca, and this is turning the holy city into Las Vegas. We'll get into that, but first, big week for news. You idiots! It was a book burning in Tennessee.
Really?
Yes, this is a pretty big scale one. So after Tennessee banned there's a few school boards in Tennessee banned the comic book about the Holocaust for there being bad words in it.
Oh my god.
They burned Harry Potter and pretty much any other book that, like, science textbooks talked about evolution. So I went on the YouTube video on the podcast YouTube account, and I found some of the comments and shit on here.
Thank you, Jesus. You picked me up and turned me around. He placed my feet on solid ground. I thank the Master. I thank the Savior. I thank God. Hell lost another one. I am free. My family is free. My city is free. I believe and receive freedom. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. Amen, Pastor
Amen,
Locke.
Pastor Locke from Red Patriot Mom. So this ad and the recommended, I can't figure out if it's a pro-life ad or something about insurance. Term life starts at $17. So is that
That's
don't
like
get an,
I want to watch The Deliverance from Demons Part 1.
it was just a speech. I love the live chat. Of course, YouTube was messing with the sound.
I just realized that
And
you
it's not just-
Photoshop.
They
I
didn't
just
have
realized
a
that you
mic
put a
input.
picture of the Sweet Baby Ray's bottle next to Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, I wanted people to know what it was. They didn't think I was stupid. That's
boy.
happening in Tennessee.
That
People are
company is not
stupid.
doing very good right now. is it?
Facebook had the single largest drop in a stock price in American history in
What,
a
like,
single day. It was
20?
something like $200 billion loss of market cap in one day. You seem to know about
Insanity.
more about this than I did.
It was it's hard to believe that it really was just because of such a horrible earnings report. And ironically, it's the first quarterly earnings report they've done under their new what is it called? Like Meta Incorporated?
Meta.
It's their very
The only
first
thing I
one.
really
Yeah.
know about Meta is how they basically destroyed the company who had the copyright for the name Meta. It
Yeah,
was
there
like
a
a really
person.
it was a really small consulting firm, and like they just got attacked by lawyers like out of nowhere until they
I want to
basically
say there
went
was an
under.
artist on Instagram that had the Instagram handle Metaverse and had had it for over 10 years and suddenly got deactivated a few days before Metaverse made their official account with the Metaverse
Oh.
handle, and it became a pretty big thing.
Yeah, why are they just such a shit company? And it's like there are socially worse companies than them, but none of them have as much bad press as Facebook.
Yeah.
Like
One
I
of
get
their
it was like
best, one of the best decisions Facebook could have made in terms of continuing the viability of their disgusting, decrepit company is buying Instagram, because so many kids say, I don't want to buy and use Facebook. I'm going to
No,
get my
no
data
Zoomers are on
leaked for the
Facebook.
millionth time. But then they
Your
turn around
data
and
is
see
getting
Instagram and
leaked.
say, well, my friends are on there.
Yeah, sis, your data is getting leaked on Instagram. Don't worry about it. Um, Beijing 2022 Xinjiang Bingqiling Winter Olympics have begun. Um, I don't follow the fucking Olympics.
I follow my one or two events.
Yeah,
Frankly, I
that's
don't
what I
care
like.
this year.
Well, no, it was really funny because during the Summer Olympics last year, everyone at the bike shop made bets for the 200-kilometer men's road race, and
Hmm.
we all stayed up like on Discord at like 3 a.m. or something for when they finished. It was great. Like there were over $100 at stake.
Oh my god.
I of course lost miserably because I don't know the first thing about competitive cycling. Um, yeah, the tour is always a big deal at the bike shop. The road race was, but I'll probably keep up with snowboarding. But other than that, it's like,
I
is it
I always,
shorter?
yeah. The Olympics are more of a thing you just kind of keep on if you're passing through TV channels, instead of like, oh, let me watch all of the events.
How much longer do you think it's gonna be before they just say fuck it and build like a permanent village somewhere?
If they do it in a permanent area, it's probably either going to be Los Angeles or just some big area that already has a decent amount of infrastructure and public transport.
Well, it's certainly not gonna be Los Angeles. Who has 2024?
Good question. Let's see who's putting in their bids. If I had to guess,
Well,
multiple
that's
South
already
American
it's
cities,
already done.
Beijing. What is it?
2020 because 2028 is already in Los Angeles. So where's 2024?
2024 Summer Olympics is going to be in Paris.
Paris. Okay, that's
Huh.
interesting. I can dig that.
I
Okay.
That sounds great. I can't wait to see all the audiences on air that have awful $1 berets on.
Awful $1 berets. What?
Have you ever been?
Yeah, I've been to Paris. There weren't that many berets. It was more just pee and homeless people. It's kind of
And the
it's kind of
terrible
like
bronze
Chicago.
Eiffel Towers.
Oh my god, the bronze Eiffel Towers were in full swing. What summer were you there?
I was there during the summer of the heat wave.
That was the summer after I went. So yeah, probably still lots of funny Eiffel Towers. How bad was it?
It was, oh my god, it was so hot. It
How
wasn't
much was it?
even like
How hot
unmanageable.
was it?
I don't remember. 38 Celsius, if I remember correctly?
Oh, shut the fuck up. I don't know how to do those conversions.
No, closer to 37 Celsius.
30 what is that?
Like 97 or 98.
Jesus
On the
Christ, in
peak of it,
Paris?
yeah, it was like that in the sun. So what ended up happening is we cut our part in Paris a day short, and we pretty much just moved everything in the day 3 hours later, because going outside was prohibitively hot, and we were all just stuck in the basement of the house because there was no air conditioning, and it was stuffy Parisian like housing.
Excellent. News. It's been really fucking dry on the West Coast in January. It's not too big of a problem. So around, we had a historically wet December on the West Coast and pretty much fuck all this January. But interestingly enough, more snow fell in the December in California than did all of last wet season. And
Wow.
because about half of the wet season happens before March and half of it happens in March, we can still hold out for the March miracle.
Oh,
This
good
is a
stuff.
throwback slide that I took from like episode 5 or something. But March can make a big difference. This is early versus late March of 2020. Anyway, just a little news item, but let's get to the content. What's in Arabia? Can you answer me that?
Oil, wastefulness. Let's see.
It is the caricature of the 21st century.
It is, yeah.
It's just I love how you had a little bit of a Jerry Seinfeld impression. They're like, yeah, yeah, it's the caricature of the
Oh my God.
21st century. Yeah, look at me. I'm friends on TV with some guy who's gonna give the Laugh Factory a terrible fucking
I'm glad we were
impression.
both about to make the same joke. No, Kramer, don't go in there.
Kramer, don't go on to the left. Oh boy, oh boy, the actor who plays Kramer from Seinfeld is about to go be on stage at the Laugh Factory. I hope he doesn't say anything questionable.
I can't believe I got tickets to see the guy who plays Kramer. Oh man, I've been waiting to see this guy for a while. I hope my friend loves him.
We
And
don't
then
know what
it just
he's.
like, what is it? Just like pan over and it's like some like racially charged nickname. And
Anyway, moving on. Okay, so if Jackass was a country, is what I like to call Saudi Arabia.
PvP enabled zone.
I guess so. People getting like sawed. It's like sawed in half in bathtubs. Yoda appearing in textbooks. Did you know about that?
Yeah, I think I heard of something like that.
This picture of Yoda actually made it into a textbook for Saudi children. Is what the king Saudi Arabia didn't notice until they were printed and in classrooms, and someone pointed it out, and then it's just Yoda. Like I don't know how you make that mistake.
It's a very 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 big mistake to make.
There's Trump selling
God.
$13 billion of weapons to Saudi Arabia so that they can kill people in Yemen.
That
It's a weird country.
that poster
It's
board looks like something that a kid made for their like science competition in middle school. And
I'm
Trump
just
just like pulled it off of the private sheltered kid DC school.
why is every single picture of Trump him doing that with his mouth?
He I That's a very good question.
It's always like that. He always has that. And that's 2017 Donald Trump. So like now he looks tired. But like 2016, 2017 Trump like actually looked like he had some type of motivation. Now he just looks so tired.
Yeah.
So of course, you know,
2016
faltering on the spray
2017
tan.
Trump was terrifying.
Oh yeah, because then this is actually someone who could dismantle the country. Now it's someone who's already dismantled the country, but now they're old.
Yeah.
Anyway, Saudi Arabia. It's hot. It's sandy. Daily averages in the summer or in the 110s. It's basically just a desert. You can't live there. It's a relatively big country, but it's almost inhospitable land. And pretty much everyone thought so throughout history until, whoops,
Till they
Saudi
found oil.
Aramco came along. So my favorite story is that Standard Oil of California basically went into Saudi Arabia and someone was like, I think there's probably oil here. They didn't know that there was oil there. They had no idea, but they just drilled there and sure enough the largest single oil field in a country was discovered. And through consolidation, all these oil companies formed into Saudi Aramco, which today is the third largest market cap in the world at about $2 trillion.
That's disgusting.
Oh, look at that Facebook.
Berkshire
Oh,
Hathaway tossed him up. And then
nice.
Nvidia is number 10, huh?
It is, yes. Nvidia's been doing well for themselves, but
They'd be number 4 if you had stopped pirating RTX voice.
Tesla's number 6? Jesus. I guess Elon Musk had to like get that insanely wealthy somehow. But
Yeah.
it surprises me Alphabet isn't richer.
It makes sense. They're certainly up there, but I can't see them passing up Saudi Aramco.
Yeah, at least not in the short term. And then from this kind of funny map of the oil drums, they have by far the largest market cap, almost combined, of any fossil fuel industry in the world. They control all of this Saudi oil infrastructure, and interestingly, only part of them is publicly traded. Most of it is owned by the House of Saud, which is about a collection of 2,000 or so really wealthy Saudi people that control the throne, and they have about $1.4 trillion of wealth in between them all. So, what are you going to do with all that money? Are you going to spend it responsibly to make your country a better place to live?
I think, well, here's the thing.
Hmm.
You could do that,
No, 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 yeah, you could.
or
You could.
or you could make some really tall buildings. And you know what?
Hmm.
If people starving means our buildings can be a little bit taller,
Hmm.
then make a big city in the desert.
Well, we'll get into that, but another good picture of Trump. What was the context for this photo?
I've had this photo sent to me by a few friends a lot, and them all holding the orb is a very, very good representation of, I mean, that and just the giant room of Saudi elite that
It's like
literally control the
it
government.
it's like the 4chan of like Pull the octopus, and it's like nothing is beyond our reach.
Yeah.
So politics and controversy. So let's start at the holy city of Mecca. Uh, Only Muslims are allowed in Mecca. So that's why I think this like fucking Joe tourist from at like Huntsville, Alabama, pointing at the Muslim only road sign is probably one of the best pictures on the internet.
Yeah.
And this is what Mecca looks like now. And you can see they've bulldozed this entire stretch of urban neighborhood to build a promenade where you can buy a $250,000 watch. But so this is the Kaaba. It's part of the Muslim tradition. I don't quite understand it. Where you go there, it's the most holy site in Islam, and you circle around it. You buy your $250,000 watch, and then you go home.
Yeah.
But part of the problem is the Saudi throne has basically unilaterally said it can decide who is Muslim and who isn't. So they can just toss you out for no reason. They can arrest you for no reason. It's a pretty dangerous place to be if you're not Muslim, mostly because you can't be there.
Yeah.
But what they've essentially done is they've turned the Hajj into like going to Las Vegas. You can gamble there. You can buy a $250,000 watch. You can stay at this middle finger of a hotel. And yeah, you buy your $250,000 watch, take a Segway around the Kaaba, and go home. And that's what they're trying to turn it into. So much so that they're trying to build this fucking thing. This is an affront to God. The final look, Ishna'Allah.
Is that
Like,
just an insanely large common area leading down to the Kaaba?
so this isn't what's really interesting is that this isn't going to solve the problem of capacity because you still need to circle around the Kaaba. So what you've essentially done is you've created this giant promenade for worship, and then you still have the same bottleneck problem. My favorite is when this promenade area, the main area, was under construction. They created a 7-story tall, like balcony, like of 7 layers around the Kaaba to just circle around. It's a weird city, man. My favorite part's
I
the rail infrastructure though, because the city is only about like 1 million or so people,
really.
and its population like triples like every year. So they just have depots and depots full of empty trains just sitting there for the rest of the year, and then like someone just flips a switch and they all activate.
Oh my god. It's like Olympic level of traffic infrastructure.
Yeah, and so they have it really quite good. You bulldoze the poor neighborhoods, and then you build a giant wall of $250,000 watchdoors to keep them out, so you can have the rich Saudis go buy their $250,000 watch, circle around the Kaaba 7 times, and leave. It's excellent, and they can stay at one of these rich fuck you hotels along the way.
Yeah,
But there's more. There's more politics and controversy.
there is.
Who do you think all this shit's built by?
Poor people mostly.
Unpaid migrant labor. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they'll bring in people from India or Africa or wherever, not pay them, steal their passports, and force them to work. To
That sounds about
serve.
right.
That is how you serve Allah. That's my guess.
As most countries are built, this one too should be built on the ground of migrant labor.
Oh, absolutely. So what they've essentially done is the newest crisis for Saudi migrant labor is that the throne hasn't paid them and it's stranded them in a village in the middle of the desert, and now they just live there.
Really?
Yeah, and
Is it just they're
you
just
have
kind
all
of stuck
these
there?
pretty much. And going back to the first politics slide, you have these lovely cranes. I'm sure they give you a beautiful view of the city. So, you just sit on the crane, try not to think about the French guy who has your passport in a safe somewhere, and you just build the affronts to God. My favorite story is they take their only Muslim rule for the city extremely seriously. So, when there was a hostage crisis there a few years back, they made the French SWAT team that was brought in to deal with it temporarily convert to Islam so that they could liberate the hostages and then renounce Islam as soon as they left.
I think on paper they decided, oh, it's going to be easier and it's going to make it more obvious that we care about this if we just convert the people to Islam and then we're holding by a rule. In reality, it makes their rule seem ridiculous.
Absolutely. And it's like part of the problem is just that having a politically motivated country have such an authority over one of humanity's largest religions is so problematic because they can say if they're having a bad time, as they often are with another country, they can just say people from this country aren't real Muslims, and then they can't do the Hajj, which is extremely sacred in Muslim faith, and then yeah.
Yeah.
So and then of course they're doing bombings in Yemen for next to no reason. That's kind of problematic, but there's also more. So this is Osama bin Salman, and long story short, he was kind of lured into a Turkish embassy, sorry, a Saudi embassy in Turkey in October 2018, and basically sawed into 15 pieces in a bathtub. And the problem is, he was a columnist for the Washington Post.
Yeah.
And what the Saudi throne didn't really expect is that there's kind of a solidarity among Western journalism. So, a, pretty much all journalists covered this extensively. There was super bad press. A bunch of foreign investment got pulled out of Saudi Arabia, and their economy kind of collapsed. That's some controversy. And then, of course, Saudi Aramco is the largest contributor to carbon dioxide emissions, and they're the largest state-owned company contributing to carbon dioxide emissions. So, not so good.
Yeah, not so
But
good.
so here's the thing. There's only so much money I think you can have reasonably. So on that trail near our house when you come out, um, and there's that one stretch of road which is insane fuck you houses
Oh
where
yeah.
there's like the stupid ass sculptures out in front.
Yep, I
To me,
do.
stupid sculptures are an American safety valve for money once too much once you have too much money. So
Yeah,
for
there's one
example,
decently close to us that has what is it? Just a giant bear fountain, uh, bear adornments on the metal gate. I think it's supposed to have like a few bears on the driveway, like a bear manor. If that's not an example of just far too much money, I have no idea what is.
people are starving like a few miles from you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm stealing this bit from Well There's Your Problem, but it's really good. So imagine we're a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And let's say
Imagine.
we get a Patreon, and for some reason people want to give us money. There's only so much we can spend money on to improve our podcast. Right? We could we
Yeah,
could
after
get
a
we
while
could
we're
get
just buying diamond adornments for
we
the
could get
mic
better
boom
mics.
stand.
We might be able to get a better chair, maybe upgrade the computer, maybe get some of that extremely flammable noise canceling foam on the wall. But
Oh,
at
I
some
have some of
point,
that.
Oh my god. Was it actually acoustic foam?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay, because the thing is, if you just bought egg crate foam insulation, it technically does the same thing, except it's not fireproof, and they release cyanide fumes and go up into smoke super easily. That's how the Station nightclub fire happened, and about 200 people died.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, so PSA, we are a podcast that is focused on safe podcasting setups. If you have acoustic foam, make sure you actually bought it as acoustic foam, not egg crate insulation. Anyway, the same is true with oil extraction, right? So I might be able to buy fancier wells, buy some new pipelines, but I'm going to run out of shit to spend money on. So I'm going to be stupid about it. So this is the first of Saudi's vanity projects. So they want to build a city, well, are building a city that is 1 kilometer wide and 170 kilometers long, called the Line City, or Neom.
What?
Yep, it is 170 kilometers long by 1 kilometer wide.
That's
And just kind of reading off some of the literature here. So starting here, they got layers. All right, the transport layer, ultra high speed trains, and then the service layer, of course, is they say it's going to be automated utilities and logistic, but no, it's going to be migrant slaves. And then a carless essential services will be in a 5-minute walk.
that's just
How's
not
it?
true.
And they say you can travel from end to end in 20 minutes. Okay, I did the math. 170 kilometers divided by 0.3 hours is, I'm sorry, yeah, 0.3 is 316 miles per hour. We have trains that can go faster than that, except that's assuming I start at one end, and then
And you never stop.
there's I at a constant velocity. There is no build up time and there is no stopping time. I am going at that speed the entire time.
Yeah, they
And it's
act like
really
it's
and it's like this mega city that's going to cost so much money is going to be about the size of Cleveland.
they act like it's not going to be a big deal to get from one side to the other, and that you'll never have to really walk or
And
take the
this
train.
has it's going up mountains too, because they want to have like Minecraft style different biomes, like a coast, a desert, mountains, and an upper valley. So you're gonna need to go uphill too. And
What
these are some
happens
steep
to
mountains
like
where they want to build it.
what happens if you're on the edge in the coastal zone and you want to go to the hospital, but the hospital's in the mountains?
No, you can take a
Do you just
bullet
have to
train.
take the train and get on like a 20 stop train in order to get out there?
Well, no, because all essential infrastructure will be a 5-minute walk.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
Okay,
Yeah, that totally solves
a
it.
5-minute walk is like
Down the
maybe
street and back.
is a few hundred meters. That's
They're
not even a
lying. It's
kilometer
just
across. So
all
like, that's assuming that there's just the whole entire thing is skyscrapers. In which
yeah.
case, the $150 billion price tag is grossly underestimating this.
It's like the last episode all over again where people just come up with the worst possible solutions.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
hey, what if we just, you know, rotated the moon and adjusted the orbit? Like, no, no, don't make that happen and just stop making line cities. Don't pretend that works.
and you know how how a few episodes ago, one of the solutions to climate change was floating cities. Well, we got a floating city right here. It's the Octagon, the region of Neom. So that's probably gonna be the coastal end. But man, you got a floating fucking city. It is shaped like an octagon, isn't it?
It is.
More mega projects. We're not done. So they've built the biggest airport in the world, 300 square miles, which is pretty much the same size as all 5 boroughs of New York City. This is what it looks like from above. You might notice there's only about one runway. And look at this. They got greenhouses, they got a mosque, insane terminals for a city with a population the size of Phoenix.
Oh my god. But everyone there
And
is incredibly rich oil baron.
yeah, and this is interesting. The construction or announcement of the construction of the tallest building in the world has predicted almost every major economic crash.
Really?
So, yeah, so the Chrysler building was completed right before the Great Depression. The World Trade Center was completed right before the 1973 economic crisis, which collapse of Bretton Woods, OPEC price rises, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And the Petronas Towers predicted the 1997 Asian housing bubble. The the Taipei 101 predicted the US housing.com bubble. And the Burj Khalifa predicted the Great Recession. And the Kingdom Tower predicted the 2020 recession.
That's a
And this is what
crazy like
well,
pattern.
no, it's so good because you only announce the construction of the new tallest building in the world when you have there's just way too much money and there's a bubble. Well, there's way
Yeah, I
too
guess
much. You think you have much money because it's such a flagrant display of wealth, and it's like, look at us, we're on top of the fucking world. The only place to go is down.
Yeah, suppose you do just kind of make the tallest building in the world when you want to prove how much money you have, and
And
you have
then,
a lot of money in a bubble.
well, no, the thing is, it's like banks are lending money they haven't got to other banks who donate the non-existent money to Saudi financiers who want to build the new tallest building, and then construction starts and they find out, oh fuck, that doesn't exist. Kingdom Tower was halted for they like poured the foundation and then COVID happened and then I think they're back at it now.
Huh.
That's supposed to be a tennis court up there.
Really?
Yep.
That's so. What happens? Okay, hypothetical.
Yep.
I'm playing tennis. You know what? You and me, we're doing doubles. We're going against.
Yes. We're
I don't
going
know. We're going
against
against whoever. Doesn't matter. But
no, we need to find out who we're going against.
um,
The Saudi king, but the young one.
the Saudi king, but the young one, and Kamala
Bashar
Harris.
al-Assad. Oh, okay, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, we had different ideas, but regardless,
They probably
so we're
wouldn't
doing
get along
doubles.
at all.
And what happens if I hit it a little bit too hard? You know, I'm not very good at tennis, and it just goes off the edge.
Well, because the thing is, if it hits someone who is on the street, they're too poor to be in the tallest building in the world. So, I mean, what does it matter? You don't care.
Or we could just, oh, what if we just cover it in a hyper futuristic dome that somehow is chalked up at $100 million?
I didn't put this on the slides, but there was they had a plan to build one that was so tall, the engineering consulting firm that was drawing up plans for it was actually needing to consider the fact that there wouldn't be enough oxygen up there for people to breathe.
So what would that be? Like more than 20,000 feet?
Yes, it was kind of
You'd have
just
to have like a
no.
pressurized cabin in the penthouse
It was
apartments.
it was like 10. It was like more than 10,000. So like it would be rough, especially if you were starting out at sea level with no acclimation period. Like Jesus Christ, man.
You and me, we gotta find oil under Chicago. This seems like the easy way.
It's like we need to turn Chicago into a Saudi Arabian megacity. So what would that look like?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's
So
see.
we need to have everyone is living in like a skyscraper, right? So Chicago proper is only like
Chicago proper would probably narrow down to the Loop, and everything
yeah.
else around it would be migrant housing.
Yes, and the
And then
Chicago
everything
Police
around that would be
Department
migrant
needs to
housing.
have Bugattis.
And
No,
then,
they'd have like they'd have like Cybertrucks or something.
in my headcanon, Naperville is the city that ends up becoming the oil well. Just the
Yes.
massive deposit.
Where would we find oil?
You'd find oil in the really rich spot, but they would fudge the reports to say that it was in the really poor spot, so it's easier to, get rid of all the land.
Yeah, they definitely like say, "Oh, we've struck oil in like Stickney or somewhere."
Yeah. Good news, everyone. We've struck oil in Englewood or something like that.
Yeah,
One of those weird,
no.
obscure towns that just is only like connected by the highway.
Oh God. Those fucking towns. No, that's got to be an I-90 Skyway town because like no one's gonna question it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite part about Chicago urban planning is when the hood was just so messed up that they said we're gonna build the highway above this. Like we're not even gonna have it on the ground.
Yeah.
You
I
know when
honestly thought they
everyone
built I honestly thought they built it above just so they could get past the fact of like it's bad, and if we have to displace these people, we're gonna have to address it somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, at least Chicago didn't displace the poor neighborhoods with building their the I-90. They just kind of built over them. Anyway, so you got no water is the problem. It's the middle of the fucking desert. And the weird thing about Saudi Arabia is because they gained all of this wealth, they were basically nothing existed in there before the 30s. So they didn't have the experience of needing to build small roads, small towns developing into larger towns, developing into cities. So they basically started from tier 1 on the tech tree with all of the tools. It's like when you're playing Minecraft in creative mode and you build your house out of diamond blocks. It's
Yeah.
not practical in any way because you didn't start from somewhere. So that is to say that, okay, we should build roads to get to the city. Okay, we don't have an asphalt plant to build roads. Okay, well, let's get the equipment to make an asphalt plant. Well, we don't. Oh, that's big equipment. We need some type of seaport to get that from a ship. Oh, okay, well, we don't have a seaport. Okay, how do we build a seaport with asphalt? Those are the problems they're running into. So that's why most of their cities don't have a septic system. And
They
that's
just never
why
had the time to make it.
they need to truck their sewage out to the ocean in hundreds and hundreds of identical trucks.
They just
And you
toss
might
it in the
wonder,
ocean, huh?
these are identical looking bulk non-valuable cargo. Why don't they just use a train? They don't have any train tracks. It's just their infrastructure is so surface level that if any of their towns lost power for any extended period of time, everyone in there would be fucked.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all of their water is coming from groundwater. Groundwater is replenished by rainwater. Rainwater is becoming more scarce. When your drought monitor looks like this makes California look like fucking West Virginia.
Yeah. Oh my god. I
Oh, that's not so good,
the
folks.
the little magenta color is our bad one, right?
Yeah, yeah, purple is like mega, like you better pick up and move the town 5 roads, like 5 miles. But this is kind of misleading because the cities are like here and here, and the drought's not that bad there. The droughts are mainly in the areas where it's either poor neighborhoods, so they don't care, or there's like literally nothing there. Because remember, this
Yeah.
this is just all a desert. And then, of course, all their cities are directly on the coast, so sea level rise, except that floating one in Neom, average temperatures going up. So, what do you
Hmm.
think the lovely people in Saudi Arabia are going to do about this?
Um, I think that either we go full tilt and we enjoy it while it lasts, which I think would be more fun, frankly. Let's
Well,
get some buildings that
the
have to
thing
take
is,
the curvature of the earth into account.
Saudi
But
Arabia
yeah,
has probably the best chance at like not having to worry about that because at their current capacity, oil reserves in their borders will last for another 250 years.
really? Including
Yeah,
like all the export?
at their current level of extraction, about 250 years.
Wow. Well,
That's
that's
crazy.
hmm. The thing about that is it going to be the same profitability?
Well, absolutely not. But the thing is, they could totally help the world wean slowly off of fossil fuels. And instead, of course, they're part of OPEC, so they're going to be like, well, no, we should just keep the price of oil as low as possible for as long as possible so that people realize it's bad. No, that's not how you make it bad. OPEC, can you please just raise the price on oil again?
Mm-hmm.
Do it again, please. I know you already did it, but please do it again.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of OPEC raising the price on oil.
We're a fan of everyone raising the price on oil.
Oh, absolutely.
I love seeing
Um,
the giant pickup truck pull to the gas station and spend $300 on gas because they drive a truck with like
gas
the
station near here
modified exhaust pipe that goes up and off the top.
has the Joe Biden "I did that" stickers on the gas pumps.
Oh my god.
And in case you're a Republican in the dirtbag leftist podcasting scene, here's some wisdom for you. If you are so affected by a slight raise in gas prices such that you feel compelled to put pictures of the president who has nothing to do with this, like on the gas pump, maybe you should reconsider how much gas your car actually needs and if you need that vehicle.
Yeah.
Because it's
You never
like,
see someone with like a mini car posting those signs. It's always someone with just like a Ram truck.
Jesus Christ, I've never seen someone put them up, but I have seen the I did that, and then there was furry smut where Joe Biden was pointing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, but I saw that one in real life. It was in Wisconsin. So there are still good people in Wisconsin.
There are still good people in Wisconsin. There are still good people in Wisconsin.
Come out with your hands up and support Wisconsin policy. I hate Wisconsin.
I hate Wisconsin. I hate Wisconsin.
And I don't know if you know this, but I haven't really been able to find a good resource on this. How exactly are oil companies planning to go carbon neutral? Because isn't that antithetical to their business besides carbon capture?
My first guess would be either they continue to use the same amount of oil and mine the same amount and they're just offsetting it by doing, tree planting and whatever, or alternatively, they're hedging their investments into alternative energy over time in such a way that eventually, you know, um any given oil company just like Saudi Aramco can turn into a solar company.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of seeing reforestation and carbon capture to offset, and then gradual diversification of their holdings. But a lot of it's smoke and mirrors. A lot of it's bullshit. That's why it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, that's a very long-winded promise too. 2060, whoever made
20,
that promise is going to be either dead or retired by then, and the new guy will say, "Well, that was their plan. Our plan's for 2100."
yeah, a lot of the plans with carbon neutrality and oil companies are generally designed to get politicians off their back. Um, really, the only really good thing is if we could turn the clocks back 100 years would be to immediately privatize oil production. So it would be
Yeah,
to a government's benefit to slowly phase out oil over time,
no
not
one ever
vice
knew. No
versa.
one was ever ready for all of the weird integration and trusts and
And it's
insane
like
things that people would
we're
think of.
studying a push, like an a push, like World War One. We were so close to nationalizing the electric grid and the railroads in World War One. If World War One had gone on for another year, we would probably have bullet trains across the country right now.
It's crazy to think of it like that.
Ugh. Anyway, so phase out in general of oil is it needs to happen whether we like it or not. That situation that we mentioned with the 250 years of oil in Saudi Arabia is hella isolated. That's not the case for most other countries. Most other countries have maybe a few more decades before oil becomes significantly more energy intensive to pump out of the ground. We're going to need to phase out oil in the next 30 or so years whether we want to or not. It's just the cards are in our hands whether or not it's going to be a gradual or violent shift.
Yeah, it's insane what even right now coal is in a really weird spot because the most potent, pure, unadulterated type of coal, anthracite, is really only available and practically mineable out of a handful of areas in Pennsylvania. Very,
Mhm.
very small deposits are still left because we've been doing it since, I mean, pretty much before the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. But dirtier coal that exists in more or unorthodox spots is still very easily mineable.
It's fucking everywhere. We will
So
never
long
run out of coal.
as you literally blow and scrape the tops of mountains off.
Yeah, you're destroying the entire landscape.
It is called mountaintop removal, and you can look it up. It is insane.
Should probably include a picture of that. Yeah, it's literally just if someone took like a big chainsaw and cut off the top of a mountain. It's not a good practice. Coal is generally the first thing to phase out. It's such an antiquated fuel that's so impractical, especially in the modern world, that it's really only used in power generation. And even then, there have really been no new coal plants built, and they're all like shutting down in the next little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it be with coal. Yeah, in general, if there's anything you can take from this discussion about Saudi Arabia, it's that this is where just nothing but such a hunger for exploiting resources, and just this is the fuck around country. It's if you don't care about anything else besides oil extraction and growing wealth for your throne, this is what happens. And if you don't like this model for what the planet has become, if the entire world followed what Saudi Arabia is doing, the entire world would be like this. And it's just best to look at this and think about, is this the type of future that I would want to live in, and live accordingly.
Yeah.
Well, I've
Seems like the
fucking
episode's
given
come
up.
to an end.
Yes, the next episode, I've given up on what to call them. Because the next episode, it's almost never on what the next episode actually is. So the next episode is going to be on Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Something about England, maybe. I don't know, because what happens is this is a little bit of a behind the scenes on the Calfire Crackpots production, is I have like a bank of episode topics I think I want to do, and then usually around midweek I'll start doing research. If I don't like it, I'll pick another one, and then I start making the slides, and then we usually record on Saturday night or Sunday. And if I don't like what I'm researching midway through, I'll probably just pick something else. And because I just choose a random one for the next episode, they're almost never on that. So it might be about England, it might not. Depends how my research is. I would love to talk shit about Brexit, though.
Oh yeah, I have an insane amount of research on Brexit that's just chilling on my computer.
Well, if you'd like to help me on the slides, because we're going to need to get this one together pretty fast and probably record before the end of the week, because I'm going to be out of town this weekend.
Oh,
So
I
if
see.
you'd like to help out with like a Brexit one,
Yeah.
excellent. I'm eating some bomb cheesecake, so that's my shout out.
All right, my shout out would probably be to who was that fella from a few slides ago?
What fella?
I'm looking through the fellas right now. My shout outs to the giant orb of the earth at the climate meet. Ah,
Was that a
God.
climate meet?
Maybe.
I thought it was like at a mall or something that they opened. Yeah.
It's just at a mall.
If you want to learn more about Saudi vanity projects, go to Well, There's Your Problem. Our absolute inspiration. Do you listen to them?
I do not. I don't
You
listen to very
should.
many podcasts,
You really
ironically.
should. That's fair, because I know a lot of like people who podcast and they're like, yeah, we don't listen to other podcasts. I could see that. You're too busy making your own. That's it. Also, shout out to Psychic Dolphin Garage, and hello to all of you who are here now from them. They posted our episode like 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
All right, excellent.
The point
That's
of
gonna be it.
contention is how they act. Where you draw the line will set you free. The debate is over.